Hey everyone, this is Rella with Rella's Wondercrafts. Normally I do a face video, but the way that I have my camera set up today is just making it a little bit more convenient to do that. So we're actually going to go ahead and get straight into this. I'm just going to explain what we're doing today. So I have a cup here that I will be adding alcohol inks to around the picture. Just as an example, this is a cup that I made. I'm a big anime fan. This is from the anime called Bleach. And this is what we are going to be trying to accomplish is the alcohol ink, that kind of fiery looking aspect to this. Um, so I have this cup here that I'm going to be doing something very similar to. And the idea is to take the alcohol inks and to just dab them on around the picture. This picture was pretty much square. I mean, it still is square, as you can see, but the alcohol inks just kind of give it a defined look, and it looks really pretty this way. I say pretty, but I love how it looks like fire right here throughout this. So that's what we are going to be working on. Now with this one, I did use an Ozark tumbler from Walmart. I used water slide. So if you don't know what water slide is just a special kind of paper. They make it for both laser and inkjet. I have an inkjet printer that I use for this. I did buy the clear water slide. I printed off the image on the clear water slide. I'll do a whole video on how to use the water slide. I have to do a few cups anyways, so I won't go into full details, but this is a clear water slide. So what I did with the tumbler itself was it came as a stainless steel tumbler. I sanded it all the way around with 120 grit sand block. And then I spray painted it with white primer. And you see how we've got like these gray wisps going around this? That was actually done with a candle. And the way you do that is you take a candle and you light the candle and you put an old fork, or you can buy just a cheap fork at Dollar Tree or something like that. And you put that fork in the flame and it will create the black smoke. And you just take your tumbler and you just roll it in that black smoke until you're happy with the way that smoke effect looks. It's actually really neat. I'll do a video on that later too. It won't be a very long video, just kind of showing how to do it. I'll have to try and remember to do that. I've got so many videos I want to make at this point. So that's how this was made. I did spray it with a clear gloss. I used Rust-Oleum. And I did spray that before I put the water slide on. So what we're doing at this point is we are going to, the water slide, once I put it on, I did let it set for at least 24 hours. I haven't touched this tumbler in a few days. I've just been busy doing a few other things. So what we are going to do with that, okay. So I am going to be using Poppy Field for this one, along with orange and black. Definitely going to be using black. I did actually grab all my alcohol inks. I have a few others, that I'm going to be, a few other tumblers I'll be adding stuff to. So I'm going to basically just show you the gist of what I'll be doing, because this does take some time to do, and I don't want to have, a 2-hour long video of you guys watching me just do this. So I'll just go over the gist of how I do it. Probably speed up the video a bit too here. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, Like I showed you, I'm using black, and that's the black pinata. I'm actually going to start with the black pinata first. And I've got some cotton balls that I'll be using is how I apply my alcohol inks. I will probably also use some kind of paintbrush as well as I'm going along. Doesn't matter what kind of paintbrush you use, probably a smaller tipped paintbrush, such as this one right here. I'll probably be using that at some point. And of course, you will need alcohol since we are using alcohol inks. They do recommend using 91%, but I only have 70% due to COVID right now and most of the alcohol ink being out. So, and I'm just filling up this a bit. I have these little cups as well. I believe I got these. I got these cups from Walmart. Okay, and I have my little plate here. I'll be putting my alcohol inks on. So, okay. So with the black, I'm just gonna add a little bit of black on the plate. And I'm just gonna take my cotton ball, dab it on here, and then just dab right here. So I did add a little bit of alcohol to that. So with this, I keep dabbing on it, just to kind of give it that look around it. It gives it kind of a blotchy, a bit faded look. And you can start off with the alcohol already on the alcohol ink, because I just poured this straight out onto this without adding any alcohol ink to it. You can add the alcohol ink to make this a little less, to make it as not as dark. If you kind of wanted to just be like a faded look. This one I wanted to have it black just because. So this picture is actually a picture of the bad guys from the anime. If you don't know what it is, so I kind of wanted it to be dark anyways to represent, you know, since black kind of does represent, bad guys in most scenarios. But that's not always true though, so. And as you see, I am just taking the black and just dabbing it around. This is the alcohol one. The other one was dry to make sure I get that dark look to it. Okay, and this is where I'm going to add a little bit of purple actually to it. And the purple is so that it blends in, because as you can see, the background is a bit purple. So I'm going to add some purple to it just to have it kind of blend in a bit better. And I think I'm actually going to use a paintbrush for this one. And I do recommend wearing gloves. I don't wear gloves mainly because I don't like the restriction that gloves cause, for me anyways. I don't like the way it feels. You know what? I'm actually going to grab a Q-tip in just a second. Okay, so I went and just grabbed a few Q-tips here. That one paintbrush probably honestly just needs to be thrown away. And I use a Q-tip just the same as I would the cotton ball. Just dab it on. And let me see if I can kind of show you guys a bit better here. So let me take it like this. So if you can see the line here, especially this area right here, the idea is to take the purple and just kind of color over it to help it blend. Let me add just a little bit of purple to that. Go. Oops. That wasn't purple, that was black. There we go. They all kind of look the same once you get going. There we go. So you see how I'm blending that? Yeah. See? Blending it right in. And the whole purpose of, adding these colors around the photo is just to kind of give it more of an artistic shape. So it's not just, if you like just the square photo, that's your personal preference. You can always, of course, keep it that way. I like more of like an artistic feel to it, something that, isn't, circles and lines, something that has some flair to it, some character. Doing it this way, more than likely, if I were to do this exact same cup, the way that I'm adding on the alcohol inks, I won't be able to do it the same way twice. I can try, but more than likely, I did add a little bit of alcohol, by the way, to this, and it's kind of helping it blend a bit more smoothly. But I can try to make another one just like this, but more than likely I wouldn't be able to. Maybe get it close, sure. But in all actuality, these cups are always just a little bit different from one another. And I think I mentioned that probably in almost every video I do. And it's just because it's true. I'm part of plenty of those Tumbler groups, and I see people post a lot of the same tumblers, and it's just almost every single one just always ends up coming out just a little bit different. And that's a good thing. I like unique objects. I like unique cups. I like unique people. And I always love to see how someone's tumbler would come out. Just like if, if you're watching this and you want to do a bleach tumbler, I would be really excited to see how it turned out. Okay, so I like how most of this is coming out so far. I think I am going to add a little bit more black to the top, a bit more faded. I really like kind of that, oh, sorry guys, the lights, there we go. Like kind of how that fades out like that. You can kind of see, it almost looks scratchy, for lack of a better word. So I really like the way that's coming out. I think I'm going to work up here a bit more on it and kind of make that fade just a bit more and add a little bit more of a darker black down here to the corners. So I'm going to work on that, and I'll come right back. Okay, so I did go ahead and add just a little bit more black around the bottom, and I did work on the top a bit more. I also wanted to point out to you guys kind of what I do. So like over here, for example, I've got the black here. There is some alcohol ink on this, not very much. I am going to add a little bit more to it. So typically to get kind of like that faded black look over here, I do take the alcohol ink. This is without alcohol. And I'll dab it on with this. And now this has alcohol on it. This one, and I just dab like this. And it kind of allows it to sort of fade out a bit. But anyways, it might take a little bit of work to get this exactly the way that you want it. A little experimentation. Just like that. So I try not to overdo it too much because I am one of those people where it's I can't leave well enough alone. So I try not to overdo it. Okay. So I'm going to move on to this part over here. I'm not going to start out with the black right away. Mainly because I'm not necessarily wanting it to be black around like this one. I do want to have some red to this one and some orange, like how the other cup is. Like I said, I do like that fire look. So I'm actually going to just start out with red and orange on this one. So we'll do the black kind of last, which I will probably end up going back over this one once it dries, just to kind of fill in some of those spaces. So let me go ahead and get my next set ready here. I'm going to grab a fresh cotton ball and fresh Q-tip. I'm going to grab 2 cotton balls actually, because I use the cotton balls quite a bit. Okay. Let's see. So this is Ranger alcohol ink. It's called Poppy Field. Right here. So I'm adding some alcohol into it, or I'm sorry, some alcohol to this. And just dabbing the crap out of it. And this is just really a rinse and repeat kind of process. It does take some time to do it. You know, especially if you're trying to get it to look a certain way, it is going to take some time to actually get it that way. I'm adding some orange to it now. Should just leave the lid off on that one, huh? Okay, there we go. Alright, just gonna keep on dabbing that. And that's what it's looking like so far. So we're doing a little bit of alcohol ink without alcohol, dabbing it on. That. And then this one already has alcohol on it. And I'm just going to take it and just dab. And if you need to add a little bit more alcohol to it, if it doesn't feel wet enough, of course, you can do that. A little bit more orange. Taking the same cotton and just dabbing. And this one is without, I mean, technically it does have some alcohol right here, which is what's kind of giving it that lighter orange color. And that's what I like doing. And that's what it ends up looking like. You can see it okay. I know my light's not in the best spot here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and continue doing it all the way around, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got the orange and red on there, and as you can see, I've been adding the black around. And what I've been doing is I've been taking this Q-tip, and I've been sticking it in the alcohol, and then putting it, or grabbing some of the black alcohol ink, and just dabbing it. Sometimes you have to add just a little bit more. Like that. Then taking it and dabbing right around where their picture is. And I'm not going too far because I don't want that to dry all the way. And I'm taking this cotton ball that has alcohol on, or alcohol on it already, and just dabbing it. Lots of dabbing with this method. That's what I've been doing. So I'm going back and just dabbing. Sometimes I'll use my finger to kind of you don't have to do exactly this way. You can, I'm sure you can have your own preference as to how you want it to look. But this is just the gist of how I do it personally. To me, it gives an effect that I like. guys. I'm going to finish this up and then I'll be back for the next step. Okay, so now I am adding some of the fire depth to this. So if you can see right here, those cells, that's what we're working on. So it's best to do that when the alcohol is still wet. So let me get a little bit closer here so you guys can watch me do this. So I'm going to take a little bit of the red, the poppy field. I'm going to dab it. And then when it's still wet, Q-tip, I'm going to put it into the alcohol. And I'm just going to set it here. You see how it forms that cell? And then I'm going to do it again with the orange. So same thing, dab. And then take this and place. Oops. Sometimes it goes wonky on you. And it kind of gives it that, it gives it those cells and kind of gives it that fire look. See? And I do that just throughout this entire thing. And you can also change up the colors if you want. Thanks. You're welcome. It doesn't necessarily have to be fire. It could be water. It could be grass. I mean, pretty much whatever you want it to be. And so I'm just kind of dabbing it a little bit with alcohol and kind of gives it this fire look to it. So I think it's turning out pretty cool looking so far. And I want to go ahead and show you guys one more time just so that we make sure everyone gets a good grip on it. So a little bit of red. I'm going to take cotton ball, dab it into that red, and dab it right there. And then take Q-tip, put it into alcohol, and then just place. No one's running away. And even while it's still wet, I will go ahead and do the same thing with the orange. Put the orange on the plate, dab it with my cotton ball here, and then take Q-tip, put in alcohol, place and hold. And then I'm going to take my cotton ball that already has alcohol on it and just dab a bit. And there we go. So I'm going to keep on doing that throughout this section over here. And then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Alright guys, so this is how this turned out. I don't know if I can get the light to be any better than that. But this is how it looks. That's the fire around it. And I just use those same techniques that I showed you. Okay, yep, so this is how the fire turned out. I think it turned out pretty neat looking. I like it really, really well. I honestly don't think I'm going to go back through and do too much more to this. Like I said, I don't want to overdo it. But I do like the way it looks. So once this is completely done, I'm going to, of course, sorry. So now that we've got this part finished, I am going to let all of this dry for probably at least until tomorrow evening. Um, some people seal their alcohol ink when they're done. I do not. I haven't ever had a problem with it not epoxying correctly. I've just heard some crazy stories about um putting sealant onto alcohol inks, like it turns different colors and things like that. I don't know if that's just for certain alcohol inks, but I try not to seal as much as I can. Um, I think I will probably end up going back and filling in these lines. I think I had mentioned that previously, so I think I will go ahead and do that and try to fill those lines in. I'll just use that same technique with the Q-tip and, going back and forth between the Q-tip and the cotton ball. And really, guys, it's just experimentation. The way that alcohol inks work, they're not going to fall the same way twice. So sometimes most of the time you get these really neat looking effects to it. And you just have to play with it and really learn the alcohol inks. Um, I have to say that I think alcohol inks are probably one of my favorite medias to use. I mean, I do my Galaxy tumblers with the alcohol inks as well. And I do also have a video on how I did this Galaxy tumbler. Not this one in particular. There's another one that I did. But that one shows how I do the Galaxy tumblers and of course in this one. So but I will go ahead and wrap this video up. Like I said, I am going to go back through and kind of just touch up those spots. And once I'm completely finished, I'm satisfied with it, I will let it dry until tomorrow evening, and then I will put a coat of epoxy on it. This is not getting anything additional to it, like no extra words, no names. It is just these two pictures. So it should only take max 2 coats of epoxy is what I'm guessing. So I think that's it, guys. I'll make sure that I put the finishing results at the very end of this video, probably just a quick photo of how it turned out. So if you could just like this video, subscribe to my channel. I am Rella from Rella's Wondercrafts. Be sure to check me out on Facebook. I do have a group there that's pretty active. And I also have another group. I have a group on there called Rella's Wondercrafts, and then a second group called Learn the Craft with Rella's Wondercrafts. And it's just an interactive group for anyone that wants to catch me on a live or have questions. It's still pretty small right now, so it's growing, but I'm hoping to, get a pretty substantial size group there. And it's a safe group, no drama, none of that kind of stuff. Just a fun place to share your crafts and learn how to make stuff. So, yep, if you guys don't mind, please just subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions, any comments, be sure to comment in the section below. Thanks, guys.